Hi everyone, it's Kelsey. Um, I'm going to start off by prefacing, yes, I am in my bathroom, um, because this is going to sound so ironic, but just while I record, I like to have privacy about what I'm talking about. Um, but privacy, and then I'm posting it to the public, online. So it's like the contradiction is just like so obvious. Um, I just came out of my research class, and my professor is very sweet, and she might be watching this, I don't know, but she plugged my vlog because I had told my class that I was doing it, and she told me I was really brave, and we talked a little bit about implications for life, and it just was very sweet. So, professor, if you're watching this, thank you. I get like an embarrassed face when she does it because I don't like talking about it all the time because like I don't want to plug myself. So when other people plug me, it feels nice encouraging the class to watch, and I know it's posted on the wall. Um, so yes, I'm in my bathroom, but the reason, like I said, is because I would like some privacy because I'm going to discuss um, domestic violence. Um, and domestic violence includes physical abuse, sexual abuse, or mental and emotional abuse. And while I have never experienced physical abuse, so no one's ever hit me, um, or anything like that, I have experienced both sexual and mental emotional abuse. Um, they're all different instances, so I would like to do one video about the sexual and one video about the emotional because they're not by the same individual, so the one story wouldn't overlap. I got this idea because someone I was talking to, was asking me, "Oh, what's your next video going to be about?" And I was like, "Well, what are your ideas?" And they talked about online dating, and which is a great topic, and I totally want to do it. But I've done it a lot, so that's kind of a topic in itself. And what it made me think of was my first real relationship. Um, when I was 14, I had a boyfriend, and him and I were on and off for about 5 years, and I had boyfriends in between, and guys that I thought were like my boyfriend, but really they were just ones that I hooked up with, and things like that. You know, Sorry, mom and dad, if you're watching this, but I think we all know. I lived with a guy for 4 years, so let's just put that out there. But that's the one I want to talk about. I was 19 when I met this individual, and obviously I'm not going to use names because those of you who know me know who I'm talking about, know his name. But he's never going to see this. Like, we don't talk, so I doubt he would see this. But still, out of his respect, um, I'm not going to use his name. So we met through online dating, Plenty of Fish website. And when I was 19, I was a sophomore in college. Now, what's funny is that at the time, we told everyone a lie that we had met in person. I went to school in Santa Cruz, California, and it was the end of the semester, and we had told everyone, was laying on the beach, and he had tripped over me and, said hello, and we'd run in, and then Santa Cruz is a small town, so the story is plausible. And then the next day, I was at Starbucks, and I ran into him again, and we had an impromptu date. Um, Now, the laying on the beach part was not a lie. I do that all the time because that was right on the beach, and it was amazing. Look up Santa Cruz, California, UCSC, go Banana Slugs. Yes, that is our real mascot. It's embarrassing, I know. But really what happened is we met on Plenty of Fish, and we've been talking for a while before we actually met on the phone, and things were great, I was 19. I have a lot of problems with my self-esteem, and, I honestly thought in my life I would never be loved because the past men I'd been with had used me or made me feel like I was second to someone. And so here comes this guy who he's 4 years older than me, so he was 23 at the time. So weird, just a little younger than how old I am now. Um, and we met. He was Brazilian, and he took me to like a, acai place, which if you don't know what that is, it's ACAI with a little line under the sea. It's delicious. The berry, they make these delicious food, and you know, we became very close very quick. Um, we had only been on a few dates before the semester ended, and I had to leave to go back to Maryland. And um, I left. I went back to Maryland, and we kept talking and um, would Skype. But the great part is that within a couple weeks of being back in Maryland, I was going to South Africa to study abroad for school for like almost 6 months, from June till December. Um, and before I left, he had already told me he loved me, and I didn't love him back. I know that now, and I was scared, and I thought maybe I do love him, so I said it back. Um, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend. While I was about to go, keep in mind this is in California, and I was going to South Africa. I was going halfway across the world, and we were going to be in a relationship. And I should have seen the signs of emotional abuse from the beginning. There was manipulation and controlling even at the very beginning. I mean, I'm in a foreign country. I'm enjoying myself. I'm 19 years old. I want to meet new people. I want to say yes to as many experiences as possible. And while I did that, I was held back a lot. I couldn't hang out alone in a dorm room with one of my friends and two South African guys, because why would two girls and two guys hang out besides hooking up? God forbid we want to just hang out and maybe drink. And, I mean, everything. He didn't trust me from the very beginning, but had no reason not to trust me. And so that didn't make any sense. You know, and it went on like that for a while. I would just not do things, or I would get really paranoid that if he didn't hear from me, or if I missed his call, he was going to think I was doing something horrible. And we're talking like, I barely know this guy. We're just starting the relationship. But then, he's emotionally manipulative and reels me back in. He flies to South Africa for my birthday. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. He flew halfway across the world to celebrate my 20th birthday. I mean, that was pretty great. No offense, guys out there, but is anything really going to ever beat that? I don't think so. um, and then, the manipulation continued. I had plans already to spend that winter break with my two best friends in Mexico, and he talked me out of it because I was spending time with them and not him. And I honestly wish I remember why I did what I did, but I made excuses for him. I made excuses for myself. I missed out on going to Mozambique because I wanted to come home early, and which was nice. I got to spend Thanksgiving with my family, but I convinced myself that I wanted to do it when really he just didn't want me away any longer. And I moved in with him right away when I got back in January. Right away, I was moved in with him, and from there, it escalated. I started out not knowing what to do, and I didn't, let me put it this way, I didn't think I knew what a relationship was. So anything he told me must have been right. So if I was talking to my friend, I have my friend Chris, who I call Boo, and he calls me Boo. And like, hey Boo, what's up? And he got mad at that, you know, and I was like, this is my friend. Like, I've known him longer than I've known you, and that's what we call each other. Over the years, we were together for 4 years. I lost all my friends. I didn't talk to anyone. I could talk to girls sometimes. I could not have guy friends. I was scared that if I worked with men and he knew about it and I was friendly with them, he'd somehow find out. Because, I did work with guys, I can't avoid it. And that's a weird thing to be scared of. And I even got more distant from my family, because I know they didn't like him, but they were pretended they did for me. My friends refer to those 4 years as the dark times of my life, because it was just me and him. He made me emotionally dependent on him, and he manipulated me because maybe I was naive, but I give myself to someone completely. I'll do anything for the person I'm with. And so, perfect example, he was getting his bachelor's degree and um, asked me to help him here or there. Oh, like, will you sit and take this quiz with me and help me look up answers? Yeah, sure. It started out as that, but by the end of the 4 years, he had graduated his bachelor's, and I literally was taking his master's for him. So I was doing my master's, working full time, and taking his master's. Literally, like, I would do his weekly discussions, I would write his papers, I would take his tests. Like, I shit you not, he maybe would sit next to me and do exactly what I did at the beginning and help me look up answers. And the worst part is, by that time, I felt like I had to do it. Like, like it was my homework when it wasn't. It wasn't my. I was doing a really, really nice thing, but he had it so twisted in my head that I had to do it. Like, why wouldn't I do that for him? Like, how dare I say, you know what? I'm really stressed this week, like with my homework in my school. Can you do your homework this week? And he's like, really? Like, you can't do it? Like, people are going to be shocked when they hear this, but that's how it was. At the end of our relationship, I knew I was going to be stuck forever and that was my future was going to be like because I had no way of getting out. He made me financially attached to him because his credit was bad and mine was good. So everything was in my name. And I knew that I couldn't financially afford to leave him. And I also knew I had cut off all my friends. I didn't have any friends anymore, so who would I turn to? I was alone. I really thought I was alone. Looking back, I know my friends would have taken me back and I would have figured it out. But for 4 years, I had it in my mind that I needed him. And I was put down every chance he got. I was never good enough. If I was upset and needed to cry, I was victimizing myself and not being strong enough. My physical pain was in my head. You know, I I wasn't good enough, and everything that was wrong with me must have been untrue. My self-harm, my depression, he didn't understand. He claimed he did. He said he did, but he didn't. Because again, victimizing myself. Um, I was expected to work full time. I was going to school full time, and I had to be a housewife. He wanted me to be able to clean and cook, and complained when I didn't. And I was like, I've never been that person. I don't clean. I'm tired. I have this physical disability where even walking is hard. You want me to vacuum? Like, that's so much work. Or stand at the stove and on my feet for half an hour and cook. That's hard on me. But nope, it was my fault. Everything was my fault. I had to be sorry for everything. God forbid he did anything wrong. Yelling, oh my God, when we used to get into fights, he would raise his voice at me and I would do the same because, when you're fighting, you're passionate and your voice escalates, and he would yell at me and then I would yell back, and he'd be, how dare you talk to me like that? How dare you raise your voice? Don't raise your voice at me. And I'd be like, but you just did that to me. He's like, doesn't matter. You can't speak to me like that. And that's how our entire relationship was. It was one big, hypocritical situation where he could do whatever he want, but God forbid I could. I encouraged him to have friends and go out because that's what normal people do. And, he said I could. He would say, get this, he would say I could do things, but then would follow it up with, just remember that every action has a consequence. Tell me, what the fuck does that mean, every action has a consequence? When you're scared of the person you're with, when you hear that, you think, okay, you know what? It's going to be bad. I'm just not going to do anything. So in his mind, I was choosing not to do something, but really I felt I had no choice because every action has a consequence, and I didn't know what that meant because I was emotionally manipulated. And I'll say he never put a hand on me, physically, sexually, he never hurt me. But emotionally, the damage he has done is irreversible. Um, the only reason I was able to leave was because um, he needed to move back to Los Angeles. We were living in Arizona for a job because he was unhappy. And I told him I couldn't leave Arizona yet because of school, my internship, and I had a great job. Great job. So I told him we're going to do long distance. And two of my friends that were my coworkers, Donnie and Eric, God, bless their souls, they let me live with them. And um, I'll say that them, Monica, Christy, Cindy, all people I worked with in Arizona, I don't think I'm forgetting anyone else, Ariana maybe, um, they helped me through this. They told me how unhealthy my relationship with him, and I didn't miss him when he left, and they were the ones who helped me end it. And I am so lucky for them, because if it wasn't for them letting me stay with them and being supportive, then I wouldn't have left. And I think that's why he was scared that I would have friends, because if I talked to other people about our business or had friends, that I would have realized that I needed to leave sooner. And I still can't believe I did, but I did. And even in the last moments, he tried to emotionally manipulate me. One conversation, he'd tell me, we're meant to be together, and one day we'll be together again. The next day, I'm a horrible person, I'm a bitch. And the greatest part, get this, was right before I broke up, he had a ring and he was going to propose. So everything happens for a reason, I guess. But I want people to know that emotional abuse is harder to detect, but you'll know it when it's happening to you, and you don't deserve it. No one deserves it. I didn't deserve it. Now, do I regret it, that relationship? No. I learned so much about myself, about what I want in myself and in a man. So just know you deserve better, and there really is help. Like, I owe everything to those friends for what they did for me. And I don't know if they realize it, but they were huge support. And I'm sorry this video is so long, but this is a really important topic, because domestic violence happens all the time, and emotional and mental abuse is so underreported, because people have a hard time reporting it, because it's just his word versus your word, or his her is an expression. Obviously it could be her, his, etc., but it's your word versus theirs, and there's no physical proof. But I promise you that I have been emotionally and mentally abused, and I will never stand for that again. And that makes me know what I want, and I know that I can be loved, and I know I deserve love, and I know what love does and does not look like. And what I had was not love. We may have said it every day, multiple times a day to each other, but I didn't love him, because how could I love someone who could do that to me? So if you know someone who's in an emotionally abusive relationship, reach out to them, because they might not be able to reach out to you. Don't push them because they're scared. Because I was scared. My friends told me they didn't like him, but I was so entrapped in him that I knew that I was lying to their faces as I was doing it when I told them, no, it's okay. All you can do is be there for them. And if you're the person who's in the emotionally abusive relationship, know that your friends really do care, and they're there for you. And your family too. Because I know if I had told my family, they would have reached out for help. But I chose not to do it, because I didn't know any better. So I'm going to cut this video off, because obviously this is getting hard for me, and because the video is almost 20 minutes, and I'm sorry. But I hope this helps someone, and if you want to talk about it more, please do, because that relationship was 4 years of my life. I came out and I was 23, and those times from 19 to 23, you're learning who you are as a person, and I was manipulated the whole time, so I'm now learning who I am at 24. So I'm sure there's resources out there. Please look for them, or talk to me, please, about it. Thank you all for listening. I'm sorry this video is so long. As always, please be kind. Subscribe, share, watch. Try to watch the whole thing. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening and letting me do what I needed to do. Sorry, I don't know if my face went blank. My screen did. Um, I love you. Thank you. Night, guys.